Well, good morning. Another day at the office. A much nicer day, I might add. It's sunshine. We've had 3 or so days of fog and high humidity and bitter cold temperatures. So the sunshine makes it all kind of more bearable. It is minus 24, so it's getting to the limit of my sort of hawking activities, but the sunshine's kind of making it bearable. Today will probably be my last day flying for several days. I'm going to head off to the NAFA meet next week. Hopefully see some friends and warmer temperatures. But for this morning, my focus is on getting these 2 birds flown. I'd like to feed them up on a good crop on a kill each. It's got a kind of a snowy owl feel about it today, so I'm going to carry my pyrotechnics with me, because getting to my bird on a kill in these conditions is going to be very difficult. And I've seen 2 now, and there's probably a lot more I don't see because they're so well camouflaged in this landscape. Anyway, I'm optimistic we're going to have a good day. Every day is a new adventure. Something else comes up, but let's hope it's uneventful other than the fact I get 2 good
Weston
flights.
gets this flight. It's a AAA grade setup, as they describe it. It's about 400 or 500 yards away, straight east of here, and over that hill there's a covey of Huns. They've got nowhere to go except those trees over there, which means I'm probably going to have to hoof it across that snow to get to my falcon before any other predator does. But it's an absolute incredible setup. It's very crisp right now. It's minus 24. That falcon's flying like he means business. He didn't fly yesterday, so let's get this done. Oh, he's up really nicely. The Huns are just here. I'm going to try and, at least I hope that they're sitting real tight, because the falcon's up pretty high and they know they're screwed because they are so vulnerable. I mean, there's no cover from a long ways. He's just perfect. There they go. Watch it go. He's coming down. Whoa. Yes, he bound to it. Fantastic. Oh, that was lovely. I saw them go up so high, I figured that he would shoot underneath them, and he did. I'm going to get in my truck and get back down there and attend to him before anyone else comes in to investigate. Well, I've let the dogs out just because they can get ahead quicker than I can. So far, the only thing that's come in is a raven, which is good. But he came in, did a sort of a shallow stoop by to check on the bird. But this is the kind of scenario, that bird's a good 400 plus yards away. It takes a while to get through this field, and I can't drive them anymore, otherwise I'll have another problem to contend with. So I want to get to the bird as quickly as I can. Snowy owls are so well camouflaged in this landscape. Eagles to some extent, but snowy owls are my biggest concern right now. I need to get to the bird as soon as I can. Dogs, they're back at the truck already, as if to say, come on, let me in. It is cold. Minus 24. I'm giving this bird a good crop. He caught a hen there, not a cock bird. I would reckon my ratio cocks to hen is about 80%. But he was up high, 734 feet or something. He came down at 243 kilometers an hour, which is about 150 miles an hour. And by the time he reached them, they were high up in the sky. He had the choice of the covey, and he shot down below and did a very assertive bind, high-speed bind, and winnowed down with his prize. Of course, I had to hike 470 yards into the snow to get to him, but fortunately the dog got there before I did, so no mishaps. What a phenomenal setup. I mean, just look. The dig is right there just off the road. And if you look, it's, there's the dig. And they have nowhere to go. Those trees is where I anticipated them to go, and sure enough, that's the way they went. But you can't buy a better setup than that. He's done well. That's Weston for you. He was on fire. Time to get Smith flown now. It's funny. Well, it's not funny actually. Just driving down the road and I'm looking around. Of course, I'm mainly looking for Huns, but what do I see? On the top of that, if you look on the left top edge, there is a female snowy owl sitting on there. She's got a good vantage point. If I was to take a flight anywhere here, which I'm thinking of down there, she'll cover that ground pretty quickly. It's a consideration I have to keep in mind. I might, if I find a flight up here, I might fly it, I might not, but I'll take my pyrotechnic with me. I just don't want to put all my faith in the fact that the pyrotechnic is going to stop a snowy owl that's starving hungry in minus 24 from coming in on my falcon. But I'll have the dogs out too, I guess, if I do find a flight. I'll cross that bridge when it comes. Well, that snowy owl still remains on like an oil site, maybe, I don't know, 1,500 yards away over there. But I got to cover your Huns 200 or 300 yards just off the road here. And they're going to want to come this way towards this old abandoned acreage. The wires aren't going to pose a problem because they're going to come this way. And I believe there's a great enough distance from where they are to where that cover is for the falcon to get one good clean shot. Hopefully he does. Interestingly enough, there's another covey just here and one just there because they're hanging around by this old farm site because there's plenty of shelter and cover there. So I think I'm going to take this flight versus the one I saw earlier. Even though there's an owl there, I'll carry my pyrotechnics and I'll have the dog with me. Hoping someone's home. Oh, yeah, they are. Dogs, seen them. Falcons coming down beautifully. Right underneath them. Grab! Falcon chasing them to the farmyard. Watch the fence, buddy. Oof. Oh, he caught it. Shit. Yes, Milo, it's a false dig. Empty dig now, buddy. I gotta get going. Come on. Come on. I think there's still one Hun buried in there. Milo's on point, but I gotta go. Thanks God Griff is staying there. An old site like that, there could be an owl. Yeah, he's got it. The bugger. God, that's hybrids for you. Man. He stayed with that. I saw him flare up and tap it just at the end. You can see him there, little bugger. Fucking his Hun. Wow. Look at that. You have to cross two fences too. Come on, Greg, get up, Maury. Nobody lives in this acreage. It's a small house. The farmer retired, went into town, sold all the land, and a lot of land it was, to the Hutterites, and they didn't want the farm. Griff, get out of there. And this place went for like $250,000, which is chump change. Well done there, buddy. Okay. You get a good crop today too. Well, we all like happy endings, and I just had two fantastic flights in under 2 hours, which is again a bonus. No shortage of huns today. Now all the snow and everything's settled. They've come into their own routines. Even although I'm kind of hawking off the roads, I'm seeing quite a few coveys. First to fly was Wesson. Superb textbook flight. Went up 733 feet, came down at 242 kilometers an hour, about 150 miles an hour in English, and bound to a hen partridge and took her down. And I got over there in time. The dogs beat me to it, thankfully, and just super pleased with that. So he got a great crop. Next was Smith. Smith, I had a bit more time procuring a good flight for. Passed up on one I nearly took, but I wouldn't have forgiven myself if it had hit the hazard that I'd seen. There was a power line down the side of the road, and even though I thought the huns would fly across the field, I didn't want one swinging back, going under the line to try and find a piece of grass underneath the power line and have the falcon pitch up and hit the wire. So I just passed. Went further on, found another setup free from wires, but had the baggage of a snowy owl, female snowy owl in the distance. I decided to take the flight because I anticipated the huns would go the opposite direction to the snowy owl, which they did. And I had both dogs out and pyrotechnics with me, so I felt prepared somewhat. Anyway, Smith went up pretty good, 513 feet, not as high as Wesson, but flew well. It's cold. It's warmed up to minus 22 now. It was 24 below earlier. There's no wind really to speak of, so this makes it all the more sort of tolerable. Anyway, he came down, he pounded a hun, didn't even stop to look at it. It went in the snow and it's like, yeah, whatever. And he threw in his outrun from his pitch and rolled over and just chased the rest of the covey. And the flight took them to the farmyard, which I didn't want. I thought he was going to sort of close the deal before then. But he chased them off into the distance. Man, he is a fast falcon. He hit the hun probably 20 feet up in the air, and it went down. He threw up, went down, and he had it. It was a done deal. So I raced over there, didn't even gather the dogs. Of course, great horned owls are around farmyards. Snowy owls are in the open prairie. But Griff was there before me. He's good at following the flight. Took any of the stress off me. And Smith had it all under control. So both birds have had a great crop. Not going to fly them now, as I mentioned. I'm going to the NAFA meet. Hope to see some of you guys there. I'm not going to fly my birds probably for 5 or 6, maybe even a few more days than that. So they're going to get a good break. They haven't had a rest like that the entire season. But it's always good to end on a high note, and I can go home feeling kind of satisfied with that. It's a great morning.